It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole Cattaruzza. This morning I went out, I started doing, my private word for it is sachet. That's what he taught me in a whole time and space when we're actually able to be in physical contact. Kind of looks like a soccer, like passing an invisible soccer ball back and forth in order to build stability at the hip girdle level or the hip joint level, to stabilize the knee and the ankle. Since I'm having so many problems, but the weight's starting to come off, so it's easier. It's getting a little easier to move and breathe. That's our special word, but I don't know what other people call it that study kinesthesiology and then disseminate it or perpetuate it throughout the industry. But then again, there's a science principle somewhere who wears a sash, who knows these things. So that's why it's sachet. So while I'm doing that, of course, I'm doing a mindful walk, mindful, or a mindful sachet. And as I'm looking at the ground, there's those black spots everybody says is gum. I'm like, there's not that many people chewing gum on the sidewalk. And there's not that many birds that fly overhead, so it's not bird fecal matter. It's something else, and then it's the pollution on top of it in this area. If I had to guess, since I can't get anything verified in health standards that are rapidly deteriorating, so as I'm going, yesterday when I was doing my sachet in front of the hookah bar, I'm on the sidewalk in front. It's like a general easement, but the store is here. Right before the street, there was a small alouette, or a gentil alouette, a lark, or a sparrow, or I don't know the correct genealogy of the bird, but there was a small bird. Somebody ripped its head off and just left its body in front of the hookah bar. I saw the man that works security out front of the hookah bar come out and recognize and show someone else. I was watching my feet in my mindful walk, trying not to dislocate my knee. And also what I've noticed is there's some kind of, it's not canine fecal matter. It's some other kind of fecal matter. When I go for my walk, it's just deposited around like the City Med, SITYMD. No idea why. These are probably signs from elsewhere. I don't know who they're for. I'm watching my feet and the sidewalk. The sidewalk. For people who know how to drink a sea breeze. SEABREEZE. Not that I drink alcohol, unless the really tall, out of the area, handsome bartender shows up and then is trying to teach me about drinking, kind of sort of in a not really way. And I didn't even recognize him until and I'm like, oh. Anyhow, And that's in a sunny side. SunnySide for why are you trying to poison the children? And why are you purposely having them meet you in the poisonous facility if it's going to get them in some kind of spiritual or moral peril that's going to get them in trouble with the sash community? Just curious, big brother. So whatever on that. So here we are, still stuck in New York, still hating every moment of it, but now I'm closer to the city, which I hate more than life itself. And I'm watching the words of the locals. Turns out that Biden went to Israel. Israel has some problem with Palestine. I can never get straight answers on whatever that's about. But I'm watching what's here. And now, when I was out in Suffolk County, right about when Troublemaker 1975 showed up, he took me to some place because he had some job interview. He wanted me to come for a ride with him. And then, as usual, I'm like the key witness or the informed. And so someone I don't know who was exposed to something he referred to as monkeypox and was told to come find me and where I'd be that evening. I was like, I didn't even know I was going to be here. How do you know I was going to be here? Since there's some Knights of Columbus, like, whatever with 1975. I didn't even know what monkeypox was. I was like, why are you telling me this? He's like, just because it's rare. It's an infectious disease. It's rare. And it might be important over your lifetime. I'm like, oh, well, thank you. He said he contracted at some job site. I thought that was really weird, but his job site had to inform him that he had contracted it, which was interesting. And now I'm looking because they have this thing like as if monkeypox is brand new. I don't know. Somebody told me about it, but within like the last decade. So here we are I'm looking, this is a local commercial. And here's now, this is what's in charge at the moment. It claims, during this winter term with Mayor Adams, they're claiming that they are in charge of public health, safety, and standards. So that's good. So pin the tail on the donkey. Here's where monkeypox, COVID, and all of the really serious communicable diseases and infectious diseases have come from. They brought it with them. They engineered it. Some guys, like, he was working in a lab, and then he contracted it. Why are you working in a high lab facility like that's not even like a secured lockdown? I mean, this is what absolutely makes me mad. This is what, and these are their children. So now I have inside New York while I'm trapped here, like, I've heard of Viking blood. I think that that's important to somebody. I say RH negative, but so now they're here. They weren't always here, whatever this represents. And they think they're running some health organization. But in fact, with them coming to power has actually infected and caused a pandemic in this area. So it looks to me more like they're using New York like a septic testing ground for infectious disease. I don't know on whose sash and on whose authority. And aren't there nuclear weapons for that, to take out their sashes so this doesn't happen and hurt like the innocent? and unsuspecting? I'm just curious. Because there is a very big trend of what just arrived and what was here originally. And then I hear that Israel and Palestine are fighting over some argument about land elsewhere. And I'm like, any tie in together? Possibly. So they're here now, educating themselves in a language of English. I know Greek has a problem, and now this is what their children look like. And I had a woman on the street in Bayside walking next to me, and she says she's all mad because she's like, no, well, in your, like, don't they teach about Black history? No. You're the new arrivals. And then she said something on the phone, because she's talking on the phone. She says, don't they teach about Black history? And then she said something about, yeah, no, they did a 6-point DNA test of this woman. And she's talking, and she said that their ancestry is from Africa. So you have a history in Africa. You don't have a history in North America. It's as simple as that. So she was all mad that whoever was on the other end of that phone call, like, that nobody was teaching Black history. Yeah, Black and brown history, I don't need to know. I can't even keep, like, next gens safe from what's creeping in and creeping up, getting loud, obnoxious about it, and trying to enforce things that I don't know where they think permission comes from. But I mean, these privileges of being this level of doctor and practicing magic and wizardry, that's not a guarantee. And I don't understand why this cycle, because now they've just made money out of it, and now it's really hard to scale back. And it seems like another booster, another booster, another booster, another booster. For what?
Hi, I'm Dr. Ashwin Vasan, the city's health commissioner. And I'm Dr. Torian Eastland, first deputy.
Who commissioned either one of them? And why does this call itself a CEO, a chief equity officer? Of what? Of public health and safety, where they're infecting the public? And I have no way of I'm Rh negative. I'm not even supposed to be near their 90% Rh positive and whatever crazy schematic and organized criminals they're coming up with. Where is my protection unit? How do I get out? How do I get enough money and get to safety? Where are the other Vikings? Where are the sashed heroes in the world? I'm just curious.
Commissioner and Chief Equity Officer at the Health Department.
We're both doctors and fathers of young children. And when it comes to our children's health, let's keep them safe from COVID-19 so they can keep being kids.
Vaccination is the best defense against COVID-19 and saves lives. And now vaccines are available for children under 5 years of age.
So I see them planning now all of a sudden in this territory their children's future and their own. What I don't see is any of the previous and the natives, what their health safety concerns are. I don't see those being addressed anywhere.
Talk to your pediatrician about the best vaccine for your child.
For more information about vaccines, visit nyc.gov/COVID vaccine or call 212-COVID-19.
So that's what's managing or calling itself some kind of authority in the area, kind of like the whatever. And then let's go to real live action of somebody working in a lab, got infected with monkeypox, and then it's just out and about. And how is the 90% handling this research and funding experiment? Let's call it that at the moment. I'm on the outs and on the outskirts, but yet they're keeping me dangerously close to this unsupervised whatever they're up to. And I don't even know how it erupted or got approval. Here's Eyewitness at 5 p.m. on July 14th, same day as well, that's this part.
Monkeypox cases continuing to climb in the United States. New York City, the epicenter of this outbreak, accounting for 1/4 of all cases in the country. Today, there are 389 cases in New York alone. That number will grow tomorrow, by the way. Hours ago, city officials pledging to make 12,000 new vaccines available, and they're now once again trying a new way to schedule appointments after people encountered big problems and confusion trying to get vaccinated.
They've made like this microeconomy out of purposely infecting people, scaring the hell out of them. I don't see China being any better in this, whatever. I mean, what's in New York City in 20th century, 22nd year? I mean, they're buying products from China in order to hand out. So they're handing out some kind of like cross credit. I don't know who's at the helm of this, who's allowing this. I mean, are Mike Viking sashes anywhere? Because I don't know how to, like, I don't know what their real names are. I don't know where they're located. I don't even know what a sash really means. I know something important. It doesn't exist where I am in New York.
Vaccinated. This has not been a pretty rollout. Here's investigative reporter Dan Crowell.
So this one on my finger is kind of in the scabbing stage.
More than 2 weeks after contracting monkeypox, Kyle Plank has about 30 blisters and spots all over his body.
Going from having a really high fever and all of that directly into having really intense pain was pretty terrible.
The 26-year-old from Queens isn't your typical patient. He's a PhD student,
PhD student, right? See, I didn't have access to getting a PhD. Level of degree wasn't offered, wasn't promoted, don't even know what to go after. I mean, they don't even, in high school, there was nothing astrology even offered. But here we are. Gets infected in some unsecured lab in New York. I mean, are there security clearances to get in there? How did he get a security clearance? Where's my national security? I'm just curious. Because it seems like multinational security is fighting somewhere. I don't know why. I mean, isn't that what the military's for? Is shutting the shit down before it, like, gets a grassroots or some whiff that it might be a successful money-making Ponzi scheme and hurt humanity? Like, I was pretty sure there were laws on that specific thing. I'm just not clear why it's being actually played out and allowed to be sought after by whatever he's related to, and we're not related.
specializing in infectious diseases.
I have not actually found anyone who had monkeypox before me who could have given it to me. So it's definitely an open question.
Anyone can get monkeypox, but is primarily spreading locally from close contact and the LGBTQ plus community. Kyle says he tried to get vaccinated before contracting the virus, but like hundreds of other New Yorkers, he ran into frustration trying to book an online appointment. With a limited amount of vaccines, so many people lined up outside a Chelsea clinic, they had to turn people away. Then last week, the website to book online appointments faced numerous glitches and technical difficulties.
Look at all that coding behind the MaxiPad. I mean, the MaxiPad is the MedRite Urgent Care. That's what I get to see. But I don't know what else backcode means. But is that what's going on with this? Because there's also a huge, I don't know, do they call it a solar flare? Where they show like a star and like they call it Jupiter, but it's not blue. It's actually in some kind of photospectrum. It looks like a nuclear bubble. and it looks, there's big striations of where it's running hot and where it's not as pronounced. And then there's a second one where it looks like the electron shell just at the outer edge of whatever the nuclear energy is on the inside is actually being torn away or collapsing, or I don't even know the proper terms. But that's another visual that I'm going to give right after this because it's really frightening.
So the city switched contractors to fix the problem, and the new website crashed. Thousands of users got this message instead of an appointment.
We own it. You know, those mistakes shouldn't happen.
The health commissioner apologized repeatedly, saying they're currently creating a better
Same guy from the commercial, by the way.
site.
We had another epic meltdown.
This guy's calling himself the Manhattan Borough President.
The Manhattan Borough president questioned why the city isn't using the vaccination site already in place for COVID-19 or a lottery system for fairness.
Instead of farming this out to contractors who have repeatedly been blowing it on monkeypox, let's just use the platform that's already in place.
Just this afternoon, the health department announced in a press release it is going to use the platform already in place after all, Vax for NYC. They're taking appointments for the next 2 weeks, beginning at 6 p.m. tomorrow at new locations. Meanwhile, Kyle has used his quarantine time to write a letter to lawmakers, asking for more access to not just vaccines, but the antiviral treatment he received after getting diagnosed.
After being on the medication for only about 2 days, I already started.
So they're implanting themselves into the laboratories. They're infecting themselves like assholes. They're then out and about communicating that disease to other unsuspecting victims. And then they're writing to Congress on behalf of the pharmaceuticals to sell more products and develop more strategies. Meanwhile, nothing ever gets fixed. There was not this many diseases when I was young. This is something new with this new disgusting system that they've developed.
We started to see really dramatic improvement of my symptoms.
Dan Krauth, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Meanwhile, New York State today unveiling a new way to get information about this virus. Text monkeypox to 81336.
Now, this is interesting because I see this commercial a lot with this crown, which I think in the sash community, it holds and bears significant weight. What I don't understand is why it's being misused while I'm stuck here with no way out and no access to a place to go or a monetary ability to get there. So now there's this, as if this little one belongs to a section that also has this crown responsibility. Again, I think that this goes back to Hella. This goes back to whatever, in things that I don't have access to at the moment, but are extremely important.
COVID-19 vaccine now offers big protection for little New Yorkers as young as 6 months. So now the whole family can be better protected from COVID-19. Talk with your pediatrician about the COVID-19 vaccine. To learn more, visit nyc.gov/vaccine finder or call 877-VAX4-NYC.
That is the color of a sea breeze. I've seen it before. Here's an interesting article they put up, solving New York City's rat problem.
The New York City Council now ramping up their war against rats in New York City. Their 5-point rat action plan aims to establish rat mitigation zones where the city double downs on efforts to control the vermin population. There would be also requirements for certain large building owners to use and maintain rodent-proof trash bins.
It takes a lot of effort. It's not just these bills, although these bills are going to put us on the right track. It really takes the entire community to deal with.
No, she's something called council. There's a lot of problems going on in the city. I'm just saying, like, I don't really feel I'm being represented. I don't know where my representation is in humanity at the moment. It feels like I've been awfully neglected and abandoned. But this is what has a voice. I mean, they seem to get this voice. I don't know why.
Rat infestations. Rat infestations require aggressive and consistent action.
How bad is the rat problem? The city's 311 hotline saw a 60% surge in rat complaints from New Yorkers in April 2022 from the same period 3 years ago.
Well, we have some breaking news on a 7 on your side investigation.
And now from the news today at noon, this is what they're showing about planetary frightening things in, like, is that the stereo and the radioscopic field in, like, a viewpoint of worlds away from here? Because I hear the eyewitness news person at the desk. I don't know if she's an anchor, whatever. She's sitting there and she's just like, wow, that's so beautiful and so cool. No, it's not. If that's how your planet is heating up, which is why the poles are melting, because there's something signaling from deep space and it's being tracked and let's just put it this way. It's so radiological, perhaps. They were able to melt away the landmass and look at the deep hot center of where you are standing only I don't know how many meters from potential problem, or the ground heating so bad. I mean, the ground here heats where you can fry an egg during the summer. Why is there so much radio static going on and radio signaling going on, yet there's no sense of relief anywhere?
New York City opening up more spots for people to receive appointments for the Monkeypox. NASA's Webb telescope is bringing us some remarkable new images of the planet Jupiter. They're giving us a close-up look at the planet's rings and moons in a way.
Rings and moons. Again, I am not at that level because, again, they've withheld me from everything and anything that I might have found interesting in and amongst humanity. So with that being said, it looks here almost as if, like, with this coming off, like, is that like the instability and radicalness of the electron shell, like in some kind of other hyper state or hypercharged state through some kind of mixed signaling or rapid signaling, like pulsar almost from elsewhere? I mean, I see how the other humans interpret it, and I'm really frightened.
Way we've never seen before. These pictures come after NASA released amazingly detailed shots earlier this week of the deep and distant universe taken by the...
I mean, it hurts my eyes to even look up at the TV screen. That's how painful it is. And then I listen to them and they're just, again,
as well.
It's frightening.
Now plan to use the telescope to investigate a variety of cosmic objects and phenomena.
Really quite beautiful.
Yeah.
Look at those images all day long. Don't really understand what I'm seeing necessarily, but really pretty cool. And I know there was like a supermoon recently that was quite beautiful that people were looking up at as well.
And thankfully we had clear conditions overall, so we got a good view of that. But right now, a few clouds around, still shaping up to be a pleasant afternoon.
It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It's Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxy is broken, and it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.